Thank you, Mr. Roy Chaudhary. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. During our interaction in the next half an hour, 40 minutes, I would like to share with you what this corporation called National Scheduled Tribes Finance and Development Corporation, the Section 25 company I just told, under Ministry of Tribal Affairs, works at an apex level for financing the scheduled tribes located in every nook and corner of this country. You see, for the tribal scheduled tribe, the Constitution of India has specific provisions. In the Article 242, the communities which are declared scheduled tribes have been given, and the Constitution also refers to that all those communities which are scheduled in accordance with this article. You see, there are over 700 scheduled tribes notified under Article 342 of Constitution of India. These scheduled tribes are very varied and located along the sea coast, on the high hills, in the desert areas, in the plains, wherever you may see, from north, south, east, west, all across the country. They are located in some of the very virgin lands also, which are not yet been explored and exploited. If you look at the characteristics that why some particular tribe is called a scheduled tribe, or why is it scheduled as per the Constitution provision of 342, these set of people have primitive traits. They are very, very primitive in their nature. They have distinctive culture. Each tribe, when we say over 700 tribes, means each of the 700 tribes have their own specific culture with which they can identify. The very common feature of all of them, if you may say, they are shyness of contact with the community at large. They prefer to lead a life in isolation in the domain in which they are living, and not really very comfortable in getting in touch with the mainstream rest of the countrymen. They are geographically isolated, as we just discussed. They may be in the far-flung forests, on the high hills, or anywhere else in the geographically distant locations, as we metaphorically call. And they are very, very backward in social, on any parameter, whether social or economic. So this backwardness, they are even more backward if we say the Dalits, the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. The STs are the most backward amongst all the communities of this country. Within the scheduled tribes, when we said over 700 tribes are there, there is another set of about 75 tribes which are particularly vulnerable tribes. They are even more primitive than most of the other their brethren. They generally follow very pre-agrarian level of technology, a very stagnant or declining population. This is one segment whose population is even declining or it is stagnant. They're very extremely low literacy rates, extremely low. We'll discuss some of the figures as we go along. And the subsistence level economy. They are not really exposed to the modern days of the managing the economic affairs of the family or of their business. They are very, very primitive in their approach, and they are actually declining in numbers. They are 75 in number. So if we just look at their indicators of backwardness, the majority of the tribal population is engaged in primary sector activities. Like the cultivators, they are almost 44%, 45% are the cultivators, and about 37% are the agricultural laborers. If you add up these two, almost 90%, 87, 88% are basically in the very, very primary sector, and just about 2% are in the industrial sector. That industry is not the very modern day industry. Here again, we are talking about very, very primary industry. The household industrial workers, just about 2% of them. And others who may say they are into the services sector, the modern day services sector, they will be just about 16% of them. And this is also those kind of scheduled tribes whose the traditional old guard is still into the old cultivation agricultural labor segment. It is the educated of amongst the scheduled tribes. They are the ones, the younger lot is entering into the services sector, but they represent just about 16%, that's all. And the major segment is living below the poverty line. In rural areas, almost 47%, 48%, in urban areas, 33%. That is the status, they are below the poverty line as per the planning commission's parameters. If we look at other indicators, they have a very high child mortality rate, almost 35-36% against the national average of 18%. So look at the difference. They are double the rate of child mortality rate. The literacy rate is just 47%. This is as per 2001 census, whereas the national average is 65% in 2001. That means there is a literacy gap of almost 17 to 18% among the scheduled tribes, which is one of the bigger challenges that all of us are facing. Then if you look at the ST female literacy rate, they just scored 35% against national average of 53-54%. Here again, there is a massive gap, almost of 20% in the literacy level. These are the very big challenges which all of us as a nation are facing, trying to correct. The positives in sign amongst the STs, if you look at it, this sex ratio, 970 per thousand, which is a very, very positive sign. So this gives an indication that this is a society which is really, they do not really distinguish between male and female in terms of value, in terms of the value of an individual. And at the same time, it reflects of their very nascent, very honest approach to life, if I may use the word. Similarly, the child sex ratio is also very, very favorable, 985 girls against 1,000 boys, against the national average of 940 girls against 1,000 boys. BPL, as we just discussed, are 47% and 39% in the rural and urban areas. See, if you look at the total population, the target group that we are really looking at, there are, as for 2001 census, there were 8.43 crore, constituting roughly 8.2% of the total population. So you can say almost 8.2% of the population is ST. If you go by the decadal growth of the, let's say, last decadal growth, almost 25%. If we take that growth rate from 2001 to 2011, I am sure there will be about 10 crore plus ST population in this country, even now, as of now. The tribal communities live in almost 15% of the country's geographical areas in various ecological and geoclimate conditions that we just discussed. If we look at their geographical distribution, Madhya Pradesh has the maximum number. 15.5% of the total national STs reside in Madhya Pradesh. Maharashtra has 10%. Odisha has about another 10%. Gujarat almost 9%. Rajasthan 8.4%. Jharkhand 8%. Chhattisgarh 7.8%. What it really means is that if you look at the central zone of the country, geographically central zone, more than 50% of the ST population is located in the central zone of the country. If we look at within the states, individual states and the ST population within those states, you will find Mizoram has almost 95% ST population of their total population. Lakshadweep has again another 95% roughly. Nagaland is almost 90%, Meghalaya 86%, Arunachal Pradesh 64%, Dadra Nagar Haveli 62%. You will find these are some of the states which are predominantly ST, the population primarily scheduled tribes. Even in the constitution, there are provisions made. They have been declared as scheduled areas. The certain areas which have more than 50% of ST population, there is a preponderance of tribal population. There is a compactness and reasonable size. There in short geographical area, there is a massive concentration of scheduled tribes, and which can also become a viable administrative entity. And of course, the basic paradigm is, basic parameter also is the economic backwardness. These are the areas which even in the constitution they have been declared as fifth schedule areas. These states which include these areas are Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Similarly, there are some sixth schedule areas also which are primarily in the northeast. The states of Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura. In these states, there are even separate political autonomous district or regional councils created for their administration, and which have even the legal, administrative and the legislative powers. These autonomous bodies have tremendous powers of all-round development of these areas. I'll just give another picture, basically to say that if we look at the districts in the country which has more than 50% ST population, some of these are displayed here. These are almost 75 districts in the country as such whose internal population is more than 50%. And if we take into account the districts with more than 25% population, this number grows to almost 125 districts. So if we are really thinking of commencing our work in a focused area in where there is maximum ST population, we can definitely zero in on from some of these districts and commence our work. They are located more than 50% ST population, and you can see it is there in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Manipur, Sikkim, Nagaland, Tripura, Jharkhand, Odisha. You can read out. These are all the districts. These are all the districts, like in Madhya Pradesh, Jabua, Dhar, Barmani, Dindori, Mandla. Chhattisgarh has Sarguja, Jashpur, Kankar, Bastar, Dantewada. You will also notice that some of the districts I am reading out, which has more than 50% population, are also of late suffering from the Naxalite problem. So this is another very, very sensitive dimension to the tribal development we must factor in. Okay, it is the developmental part which will really resolve most of the issues which we are facing now. Then, of course, what is being done, there's a lot of developmental effort is being put in, and of course, there's a law and order issue also. But I think the best solution will come through our efforts of development. That is where I think we need to join together and come out with certain projects which can be implemented and which can make the difference in the lives of the people who are living in these districts. Similarly, you see there's Maharashtra, even Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh. These are all these states which have districts with more than 50% population. We can make available a list of other districts also where there's more than 25% population. So looking at this entire thing, what we have just seen, the STs live in their natural surrounding in backward areas, isolated from mainstream society. These are the, you can say, the bottom line characteristics of the scheduled tribes as of now. They have a large population which lives below the poverty line. They are primarily involved into farming and animal husbandry as their primary occupation. STs lack modern education, technical skill or expertise or business acumen, and there is a need to provide comprehensive support for their economic development. There's an undeniable, or I think there can be no question about it. And let me share, I think if I may use this, say that I am sure all of you are aware that this is one area of poverty alleviation, whether amongst STs or other communities of the country, that where there is complete political unanimity from all across the segments of the political spectrum also. There is a complete unanimity on this dimension that poverty alleviation is very, very important component which all of us must address. Despite all this, and a lot of schemes and projects which have come into being since independence, I may say, has made some impact. I think lot more needs to be done. I think this is where we need to really innovate and come out with the either this like this ST specific requirements or the other community specific requirements, which will be very, very local. It cannot be that we come out with solutions which are one size fit all. I think we'll have to have very local solutions also, which are very, very important. The mission for our corporation, National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation, which came into being in April 2001 as a Section 25 company, after separating out from the joint organization, which was National Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation, like Mr. Chumba from the National Scheduled Caste Corporation will be addressing after me. This was a joint organization in 2001. This NSTFDC was carved out of National Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation for giving the focused attention to the development of the scheduled tribes because of their very varied nature, more than 700 tribes as we just discussed, and very, very varied needs which these people have. So looking into all that, this corporation was created with the objective to identify activities of importance for the scheduled tribes so as to generate self-employment and raise their level of income. So as you can just see, this corporation is primarily into creating entrepreneurs, really speaking. The word seems rather big for the kind of backwardness we just discussed, but that is what we are trying to do. It's a very, very difficult, very, very challenging task, but it's very, very satisfying task at the end of the day. This corporation is involved in right from the first stage of generating awareness among the scheduled tribes, because they are so backward, they are so geographically isolated and shy of contact that they are not even aware of the kind of schemes which are created, which are being run by the government and other agencies of the government of India and state governments and even in the private sector. So there is a tremendous requirement of generating awareness amongst these people, so that they even get to know that what all is there for, which is there to assist them, to help them in improving their very, very difficult way of life which they are leading. After the awareness generation, the importance, of course, is the skill development. Most of the scheduled tribes, I'm sure you are aware, are traditionally skilled. They have certain skill sets, which is one of their identifying parameters, identifying features based on which they are also identified as a tribe. But these skill sets are very, very primary, which are, which I can say, the very pre-agrarian kind of technology they use. They put in too much of hard work to achieve an output which is very, very meager comparing to the kind of input that they put in. So it is in the process they actually end up leading a very, very life full of poverty and misery. There's too much of hard work, too much of input, and not matching output that we traditionally, all of us in the modern world, really talk about. That is a major basic problem that we really need to resolve. That the outputs must match the inputs in a sustainable way. That is the kind of intervention that we are really required to give into this set of people. Then we, of course, provide them concessional finance, the rate. So I'll just show you some of the schemes which we are running to provide a very, very low rate of interest concessions. Then, of course, all this implementation of our schemes is done basically through certain state governmental agencies or through certain banks. I'll just give you, let us get into this. Our corporation is actually managed by board of directors. There's representative from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. There's representation of the financial organizations like IDB and NABARD. There's a representation of the state level tribal corporations on this body. And then there is also eminent persons who are representing the scheduled tribes, who have spent their lifetime as scheduled tribes. They themselves are scheduled tribes, and they have come up and grown up in their field to very high levels. They understand the problems of the scheduled tribes in a detail, in a very, very close proximity. This is the set of people who are really managing this whole of this organization. We have 4 zonal offices located at Bhopal, Bhubaneswar, Guwahati, and Hyderabad. As we are just discussing, see, all the concessional finance, all the schemes of the NSTFDC are extended through various channelizing agencies. We have 33 state-owned tribal development corporations, like a corporation at national level, what we NSTFDC as we call it. Similarly, in the state level, we have similar state-level corporations. All these state-level corporations have a, you can say, the equity of almost 51% from the state government and 49% from the central government. They are fully government-owned bodies, working specifically for scheduled tribes, or some of them also working for other like scheduled caste or the backward communities or the minorities. Some of them are multi-group corporations, and some of them are specifically meant for corporate scheduled tribes only. In addition to this, of late we have entered into memorandum of understanding with certain public sector banks, State Bank of India being one of them, which is the biggest of this entire lot. Then there is the Central Bank of India, Syndicate Bank, Dinar Bank, Vijaya Bank, UCO Bank, as you can see, and Union Bank of India. In addition, we have also tied up with certain regional rural banks, like we located in Assam, in Odisha, in Tripura, in Jharkhand, in Madhya Pradesh, in Gujarat. With these banks also we are tied up. All these bank branches add up to almost 30,000 outlets available to scheduled tribes, where our people can go and seek financing. The arrangement with the banks is that the banks sanction these schemes as per the NSTFDC's criteria, and then we refinance the banks. That is the arrangement that we have worked out with the banks. That any of the people can approach these banks or to the state tribal development corporations, and then they can get financing for any kind of activity. We'll just look at some of the activities also. See, the people who are eligible, the scheduled tribes whose annual family income is up to double the poverty line. That is the criteria. That's the only criteria, really speaking, that we really look at. The DPL limits in urban areas is 1,04,000, and in rural areas it is about 81,000 rupees. Anyone whose annual family income is within these limits and is a scheduled tribe is eligible for our concessional finance. It can be a self-help group, or even it can be a cooperative society. For the cooperative society, we have a relaxation because we find there are not very many purely scheduled tribe cooperative societies, And there are other groups other than scheduled tribes also constituting this cooperative society. If the cooperative society has 80% ST members, they are also eligible for our financing. Quite a few of these have also been financed in Northeast, in Uttar Pradesh, and some other area, in West Bengal, and in some other areas also. These are just to give you an idea of some of our important schemes that we are running. One very important scheme, the major flagship scheme, if I may call, is the term loan scheme, where financing is made available for schemes units costing up to rupees 10 lakhs. 90% of this is can be financed, and balance 10% comes as subsidy, margin money, or promoters' contribution. The rate of interest charge is just 6% if the financing is up to rupees 5 lakhs. And if the financing is beyond 5 lakhs, the beneficiary has to just pay 8% rate of interest, which is very, very low comparing to any other standards. Let me share with you that of late, about a couple of years back, Reserve Bank of India had put a condition that none of the public sector banks can lend below their base rate. And base rates of all the banks are actually higher than the rates of interest that I am just mentioning here. So we had taken exemption from Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India has clarified that implementing our schemes by the public sector banks will not be treated as violative of their base rate guidelines. So this is a major plus based on for the banking sector to really contribute in this effort of economic upliftment, because they are also eligible, and Reserve Bank of India is not putting any sort of bar on them. Another important scheme is the Adivasi Mahila Sashakti-karan Yojana. This is basically meant for uplifting the ST women, and the financing is made available at just 4% rate of interest. That is a highly concessional rate of interest. This basically, of course, I am sure you know that if you economically uplift a woman, then you uplift a full family. It really affects the family, and through family, the society, and the national level on the board. With that kind of thought process, this scheme has really been introduced. Then, of course, there is a microcredit available for self-help groups. The total financing can be up to 5 lakhs rupees with the ceiling of 35,000 per member. Rate of interest charge is again just 6% on the self-help groups. We have also recently launched an education loan scheme for the ST students for doing any technical or professional course in India, including PhD. PhD can be in any subject. Need not be technical or professional area. It can be in any area, being serious student. We are again providing 90% finance for this, and with a maximum loan amount of rupees 5 lakhs. And this, again, in this rate of interest is just 6%, but there are two very important components in this scheme. The element of interest, which is really charged from the ST student, is financed by Ministry of Human Resource Development. That is for the period of study while the student is undergoing a course, for plus another 6 months if he gets a job, or another 1 year if he is still to get a job. So for this period, what we call the moratorium period, education plus 6 months or a year, the student does not have to pay any interest, and he did not repay any principal amount also during the period of study or during the moratorium period, if I may say. So he really has to start repaying the amount after he has completed the study, and he has almost settled himself in next 6 months or 1 year. Thereafter only he really repays the principal and interest also from that date onwards, not for the prior period. In addition to this, with this scheme, we have also linked that the student can also avail the further loan for setting up any income generating, for setting up any enterprise if he is so interested. He can go and get a job, he is most welcome, and if he alternatively wants to set up any of his own enterprise, he is also eligible to draw funds under our other scheme. That is another very important feature of this scheme. I was just mentioning the type of scheme. You can just see whether schemes are in agriculture sector, industrial sector, service sector, or transport sector. It can be anything from dairy, poultry, pig. It can be as small or as big as possible. You can even set up a cold storage, even a warehouse. We have even financed the fishing vessel in Andaman Nicobar. Combined harvesters have been provided. Pump sets and minor irrigation equipments have been provided. It can be any of these activities which are there in, basically as per the needs of the ST. These are need-based and the local environment-based. What all the raw materials are available, whether he has a set of land which requires to be made more productive by providing additional agricultural implements, or he wants to set up an industrial unit of maybe whatever nature on his land or wherever. All these kind of things are financed. If you look at the industrial sector, it can be as simple from bamboo and cane furniture making, it can be flour or rice mill, it can be a stone crushing unit, steel fabrication, tea processing, broom making, chatai making, you can call it anything, tamarind packaging, any of these activities which look very ordinary to a person working in the industry, but these are very vital for the level kind of people we are talking about. It really adds to their income levels, it adds to their confidence level, it adds to their mainstreaming, it really adds to their families, their children being mainstreamed into schools rather than working as a farm labor or additional hands. It really makes it even affects the migration of people from the tribal areas to the urban areas. These are all very small but very effective, very relevant schemes for the kind of group we are talking about. Similarly, even automobile repair, grocery shop, data processing center, dhaba, restaurant, tent house, you can name it and have it. Anything that a person can do can be financed. It should only be a viable income generating activity. That's the only thing. For transport sector, auto rickshaws, goods carriers, or in the tourist areas, there can be a requirement of even bigger vehicles which we also finance. What I would really request all of you that if I am sure in most of the organizations now we are discussing, have tremendous need of transport requirement. You will be even hiring the vehicles in your organization. My request will be that if you intend hiring these kind of vehicles, you can probably contact us or contact the local bodies which I just mentioned, that so that these scheduled tribes who have been financed by us can become your regular transporters, and in the process it becomes a self-sustainable business for them. That will be a major help. That's your normal activity. It can just supplement the effort of the very poor people who need this assistance. If you look at the overall picture, the kind of financing that we have done so far, 53% has gone to agriculture sector, which I think is very relevant. I think it is important that the people we are talking about, they live as they call euphemistically that jal, jungle, jameen. They are really associated to that water where it is available, in the jungles where they live, and the land on which they are residing. This is the kind of people who are really related to the soil. So the major chunk has to go into financing the agricultural activity for this segment of people, so that they remain rooted. That is where they remain happy, and at the same time, the additional economic benefits are made available to them in their domain area. Of course, that service transport is about 19%, and about 25% is the services sector. Industry, you can see, is very small, just for 2 to 3%. These are the kinds of figures which I thought I just mentioned to you. In last about 10 years, we have sanctioned schemes costing about 2,400 crores, roughly 23,7172, and this also includes almost 1,000 crores as the element of subsidy which has been contributed by various agencies. So this is a very important dimension here. The kind of people we are talking about, they are very poor, as we just discussed. They don't have any shock absorption capacity. Supposing anything happens in the family, someone falls sick, or they have some celebration coming around, what are the meager amounts they have, they tend to spend in those directions. They cannot, once the money is diverted, they cannot really dig deep into any of their pockets to become again sustainable as far as their income generating activity is concerned. Because of this, most of the organizations will try to add a component of subsidy, so that some chunk is anyway in advance borne by these agencies, and it's a very balanced amount which really is financed again at a concessional rate of interest, as you just mentioned. So this is another area where the industry can come forward to provide maybe the element of subsidy in the kind of scheme we are looking at, so as to make it a sustainable activity for the beneficiaries. We have looked at about 5 lakh plus beneficiaries, and that is just some of the figures I thought I would mention to you. See, once we are financing these individuals through the channelizing agencies, it is very important that we really look at the kind of whether the schemes have been grounded well or not. Based on our own internal inspections, we find almost 72% of our beneficiaries have improved their standard of living. They have started generating net surplus from the activity. We not only do these inspections in-house, we also get from third-party professional bodies to do the inspections or the evaluation studies for the kind of schemes we have financed. We have even got TIS, the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, National Institute of Rural Development, NABARD Consultancy Services, Epitico. There are various organizations whom we have been requesting. Even Accelerate in Shetpur has done, and now the MDA Gurgaon, Management Development Institute Gurgaon, is already doing a study in the 10 states. So this is another feature that we keep doing so that we keep getting the feedback, and also we get the impact assessment and get a feeling of what all is happening on the ground, so that we can flow back the inputs coming from there to further improve our methodologies and further fine-tune our various schemes and requirements of the STs. So from this also we can see there is actually the kind of work which has been done is showing result, and I think 72% is a very, very healthy figure for the kind of people we are just discussing. This gives us a lot of confidence. There is a lot of hope of the kind of work we are doing, and when all of you are joining, I think it will even be a better success. In what we just discussed, there is a need of awareness generation, which is a major requirement. We of course keep on doing the awareness camps all over the country. We even issue newspaper advertisements in the local language. But as we just discussed, the literacy rates are hopefully low, just about 47%. So most of them don't even read all these, even if it is in their local language. So we have to perforce go through other means also, like awareness camps, through personal contacts, through other agencies. In this direction, we have also tied up at the national level with some of the organizations like Directorate General of Employment and Training. This is the Ministry of Labor's, the Government of India's body, which is into national skill development at the national level, and they have a policy to upskill 500 million people by 2022. It's a massive task. In these organizations are really doing the training through various ITIs which they have, or even through the vocational training institutes which they are managing. In addition to that, there are even scheme bodies which are specifically meant for women upgradation, women's training. So all these kind of organizations are also involved, with whom we have a tie-up. What has really been done is that in the normal curriculum where the students are being taught, they have included the schemes of NSTFDC under the package of employability skills. Under the employability skills module, they have included the schemes of NSTFDC which are taught to the students at ITIs, in the vocational training institutes, in the Directorate of Apprentice Training. They have certain institutes under them. Similarly, Employment Directorate Institutes. There's a Women Occupational Training Institutes. There's more than 10,000 of these kind of bodies, where students every year come, or the adults every year come and undergo training. This is one set where massive amount of training is being given to them, and they are also exposed to the schemes of National Scheduled Tribes, Finance and Development Corporation, so that after completion of studies, if they need any financing assistance, these students can approach our channelizing agencies and get financing for the income generation activities. We have also tied up with Khadi and Village Industries Commission. They again have various entrepreneurial development awareness programs. They are running through their almost, if I may say, almost 100 institutes all over the country. And this is another very important segment. This not only generates awareness, it also makes all these people aware that they can get financing from National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation. This financing is the concessional finance, as we just discussed, for any activity that they can do. Similarly, we are tied up with the National Literacy Mission Authority, for which I am sure you are aware of, Jan Shikshan Sansthan or the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan group of the Government of India. They also have almost 250 units in the country, through which they are again providing basically skills and managerial entrepreneurial capabilities to any literate or neo-literate or illiterate adults. They are also regularly being provided these inputs. This is another segment who is also eligible for our financing, and they are also being told about our schemes in every program that they run. We have tied up with the Udyami Helpline, which is the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. the Government of India Mantralaya, they are running this Udami helpline. This helpline is available 365 days a year from I think 6 in the morning to 10 in the evening, and they have a toll-free number where they give inputs to anyone who calls, wants to set up an enterprise. They're from where to get the raw materials, how to make a project report, from where to get the equipments, and where they can market. All these kind of inputs are made available by the Udami helpline people. They are also, if any dual drive is really talking to them, they are also sensitizing them about our schemes so that they can get the financial assistance from us. Just to give you a flavor of the kind of joint activity that we can do together, the industry and the NSTFDC, we had done one similar activity with ONGC under their CSR program. We actually, it was named as ONGC NSTFDC Hatkarga Prashikshan for Tribal Handloom Artisans in 4 districts of Assam, that is Jorhat, Sibsagar, Golaghat and Majuli. I am sure you would have heard these names for the wrong reasons, because of floods or some other issues that happen in these areas. In these 4 districts, we had identified 25 women weavers in each of these districts, 25 each, that is totaling 100 of them, by involving their local political leaders, local mukhias, and also the other state district administrative agents, machinery. And we had done through advertisements and through awareness camps, we identified these people. And then they were put through a training for upskilling, because they're all traditional weavers, but their technology needed to be upgraded. Their skill set need to be upgraded to be exposed to the new kind of designs and the new kind of products which they can manufacture. Otherwise, traditionally the weavers are making 1 or 2 or 3 types of cloth items which are traditionally used in those districts or in the northeast. They were exposed to make different kind of items for a wider market, and they were also given new design inputs. This dimension was handled by Institute of Industrial Enterprises, which is Ministry of Industry's body in Guwahati. They employed master craftsmen, and this master craftsman was really available at all these 4 places, and he gave them those inputs. The training went on for 3 months, and at the end of the training, it's very satisfying to see that these people have really the kind of product which are coming out. Maybe if we can, after this presentation, I can show you some of those photographs, that the quality of products is eye-catching, and thereafter they have been exposed to the market in some of the fairs, and the items are just lapped up by the people. That is the difference it makes by the right kind of intervention which can be made. Under this program of ONGC, we of course generated awareness. Then they were creating self-employment opportunities for artisans, enhancing their skills as we just discussed, and facilitating successful operations for sustainability of units, enhancing their managerial capacity. These are the kind of features which are built into that. And then of course, we did awareness generation through advertisements, awareness camps as we just mentioned, selection of candidates by involving local community heads, training by skilled master craftsmen, funding of course, concessional funding by NSTFDC, and hand-holding support. This is another very, very important component. See, what I'm really trying to say is that you can make a person aware, you can skill him, upskill him, reskill him, whatever is his need, give him even managerial capability, give him concessional finance, give him technical input. Despite that, it is not easy to really set up and run an enterprise. All of you and me, we are all very educated people, comparatively worldly wise. Even if we set up an enterprise, I am sure all of us won't succeed. It is so very difficult. For these people who are illiterate, and most of them have not even bank linkages, still we really get in touch with them. Some of them, you will be surprised that even now in the barter system, that where 1 kg of salt is exchanged for 1 kg of, you can say, the groundnut which is produced. That is the kind of exploitative barter system that is really inflicted on these people as of now in some areas, because they are not aware of the modern day money transactions also. So we are looking at that segment of people, that they definitely need a hand-holding support, some person who can be in touch with them right from the initial stages till the final stages. What I mean by final stages, that he has been made aware, trained, financed, and he has set up his enterprise. Even thereafter, for about maybe a year or so, he needs a continuous support in terms of maybe getting the market, getting the designs, getting the other raw material inputs, going to the market and getting the fair price. This is a continuous assistance which these people require. This is a very, very important dimension in upbringing the kind of poor people that we are talking about. This is an element which is built into our CSR activity with ONGC and which is showing the results. If we look at the industry and the NSTFDC, the possible areas for tie-up can be, of course, as we just discussed, it boils down to all the same things. One is awareness generation, which is very, very important. This can be through awareness camps, through press or radio publicity or even television publicity, printing and distribution information brochures in the local language, or in any other way through Nukkad, Natak, or whatever one can conceive of in any particular place. All these are very, very important awareness generation, which is very much required, which we don't even know that these people don't have even radios, many of them don't have television. But to reach these people, we have to reach their hamlets and brief them, inform them, be in touch with them in the form of like handholding person. You have to have people who are with them and they have mutual confidence of each other, which is very, very important. Then, of course, the training, this is another area for skilling, upskilling, reskilling, which is very important, improving the managerial capability. These are all first-time entrepreneurs. We are trying to create entrepreneurs. We are too happy, as we just said, that 72% have succeeded, which is not a mean achievement. But that all is required for at a much larger scale, like we have just done about 5 lakh people. And whereas we are talking a population of almost 10 crores. And even if half of them need our assistance, I am sure it is almost 75% who need our assistance. You need a much larger scale. We have on the outlet of 30,000 branch network, but still we need people to be taken to this network so that they can make use of all these features. Then, of course, concessional funding is made available. There can be the subsidy element can be provided. Market is very important. Industry can accord preference to the tribal produce. This can be an important. Hand-holding, as we just discussed, is very, very important element. In all these areas, we can really tie up and help these people. Another very important segment of late, I think you will be aware of that under the Forest Rights Act of 2006, the Government of India has given forest rights to almost 12.76 lakh scheduled tribe forest developers. They have been given the right to live on that land, make use of the land, make it productive, whatever is the produce of the land to be their rightful owners. But all these people have been given so much of capacity. But this capacity needs to be made productive. For that, we really need to provide them inputs in terms of irrigation, agricultural implements, modern sowing or harvesting techniques, high-yielding variety of seeds, any of these things, even for setting up small industrial units on this. This is another area where we can, the industry can play a major role in helping these people. I think they just suggested modalities that we need to identify jointly any area in the vicinity of the collaborating industry or elsewhere, wherever the industry feels like. Baseline survey will need to be required to be done. Identification requirements need to be stated. We need to prepare a project report, approve the project, do the awareness generation, then of course select the candidates, do the project implementation. We'll provide the concessional finance where you can chip in with the subsidy element. Hand-holding support can be provided. Impact assessment after the entire thing is over, we need to be bringing it in so that we can improve on that. All these can be frozen in terms of the kind of location we are talking about, the kind of activity we are talking about. All these will become very, very important from that point of view. Just this is some of those, I thought some of the ideas, some of the work that we are doing, I thought I will share with you. And thank you very much for the patience and for participating in this discussion, in this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sood. Now I would request Mr. Chamber from NSFDC to share his presentation with us. Over to you, Mr. Chamber.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm really very thankful to CII for giving us opportunity to NSFTC to have live interaction with the participants. Let me be brief about status of scheduled castes throughout the country. As per 2001 census, the SC population is 16.16 crores, 66 crores. For your course, there are 61 districts throughout the country where SC population is more than 25%. Recently, we have got the records that there are 40,000 villages throughout the country where SC population is more than 50%. Government of India has recently lost Prime Minister Adarsh Gram Yojana within these. They are going to implement this PMAY scheme in these 40,000 villages in the phased manner. To begin with, they have started this in 1,000 villages in 5 states and 9 districts, consisting of 2 districts of Himachal, 2 districts of Tamil Nadu, 2 districts from Rajasthan, 2 districts from Assam, and 1 district from Bihar. While going through the data, it's very clear that there are 10 states in the country which count 81% of the total SC population. UP alone has got around 21% of the SC population of the country. It means every 4.5% person from the SCs throughout the country is from UP. Then the second highest SC population is in West Bengal, which has grown 11%. Then we have got Bihar, which is around 8%. Then Andhra, 7.5%. Tamil Nadu, 7.12%. Then Maharashtra, it is around 6%. Rajasthan, also around 6%. Madhya Pradesh, around 5.5%. Karnataka is around 5.14%. And Punjab is 4.22%. These are the 10 states which count more than 81% of the total SC population in the country. There are some other states like Haryana, Odisha, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Kerala, Chhattisgarh, and Assam, where population is between 1 to 4%. Small states like Himachal, JNK, then Tripura, Sikkim, they are having SC population of less than 1%. The minimum population is in Mizoram as per our records, which is 272. For your records, let me inform one thing more, that there is only 1 district in the country where SC population is more than 50%, and that is Cooch Behar in North Bengal. In sequence, there are other districts like we have got Nawashahar in Punjab, then Sitapur in UP, then Sonbhadra in UP, then other states districts like Jalandhar and Hoshiarpur and Nawashahar. These are the districts which are having sizable population in the belonging to the SCs. Friends, coming to NSFTC, National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation, set up under Companies Act on February 8th, 89. Earlier it was working both for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, but consequent upon the formation of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, our corporation got bifurcated into 2 segments. We are now looking after for scheduled castes, and National Tribal Finance and Development Corporation, they are looking after the ST component of the country. Let me come straight to the missions of NSFDC. We are financing, of course, not directly, but through the state channeling agencies. We are facilitating, we are providing or facilitating, we are trying to do or facilitate a role. Then promote economic development activities of persons belonging to scheduled castes, which are living below double the poverty line. Earlier, this double the below poverty line was 40,000 for rural areas and 55,000 for the urban areas. Recently, only a few weeks ago, on the recommendation of the Planning Commission, it has got upward revision. That is for now, for rural areas, it is 81,000 per annum family income, and for urban areas, it is 1,03,000. As far as NSFDC is concerned, we are having two eligibility criteria only. That is, he should be from the scheduled caste, person belonging to scheduled caste, and he should have double the below poverty line income limit. Rest, all other things, that is what is his age criteria, others, that is to be taken off by the SES. Coming to the sources and performance, as on date, NSFDC had authorized share capital of 1,000 crores. Out of this, over the last 23.5 years, Government of India has released us 731.80 crore. As on date, our cumulative disbursement is 2,362 crores. That is, it is 3.23% times of whatsoever the paid up share capital we have received from Government of India. Till date, we have covered around 8.20 lakh beneficiaries, and we are pleased to inform you that out of this, around 53% of our beneficiaries, they are the women beneficiaries. We got very meager staff. As on date, we have got around 79 in all, out of which 68 we are having in our head office, and 11 we have got in zonal office. Out of this, 35 are executives. Besides our head office in Delhi, we have got our 5 zonal offices, which is in Bengaluru, Guwahati, Kolkata, Lucknow, and Mumbai. Presently, all our funding is through our channel partners, that is state channeling agencies. Presently, we have got 37 state channeling agencies in 33 states. There are 2 states where we have got more than 2 SEAs. In Kerala, we have got 2 SEAs, Kerala SC Development Corporation and Kerala Women Development Corporations. And there is one other state, Maharashtra, where we have got 3 agencies. These are our agencies. They are also varying nature. Out of all these 37, we have got 21 which are under Company Act, Section 25, then 9 under Cooperative Act, and 5 under State Act, and we have 2 agencies, they are under Banking Act. We are a MOU signing company. Whatsoever the kitty or the funds is available with us, we have got 3 sources of funds. First is our share capital, which we are getting from Government of India. Second is our recovery from the SEAs. And third is our internal generation. As I have told you that we are MOU signing company. In the beginning of financial year, we are given target by DPE and our ministry, and whatsoever the targets are given, we are allocating on the basis of SC population in that respective state. Then, so that the funds reach the target group, we request the SCAs, our agencies, to further allocate those funds on district-wise and region-wise on the basis of SC population in that district or in that region. We have got sectoral priorities. For agriculture and allied activities, we have got 50%. For industry, we have got target of 10%. And for service sector, we have got 40%. But I have to inform you that under agriculture, we could get only 30% till date. For industry, it is just 4%. And for service sector, which is also includes transport sector, it is 66%. Then coming to the norms for coverage of women beneficiary, as I have told earlier, that 53% of our total beneficiaries, they are from SCs, women beneficiaries. Earlier, we were putting 3% only in physical terms, but consequent upon the recommendations of the Task Force on Convergence and Coordination of Government Programs, Schemes for Educational, Economic and Social Empowerment of Scheduled Castes and OBC women, we have now made it 40%. It will be both 40% in physical terms as well as in financial terms. Friends, we have got two types of schemes. We have got credit-based schemes and non-credit-based schemes. Under credit-based schemes, we have got term loan, which is our major, which you can say flagship scheme, under which unit cost up to 30 lakh is funded. Let me clarify that under all our schemes, we are funding up to 90% of the unit cost. Then we have got Laghu Vyavasaya Yojana, which is up to 2 lakh unit cost. Then we have got Mahila Samriddhi Yojana, which is 50,000 unit cost per beneficiary. We can get up to 50,000 unit cost. Then we have got Shilpi Samriddhi Yojana, particularly for the artisans. This is the up also for 50,000 unit cost. Then we have got microcredit scheme, microcredit finance scheme, which is also unit cost is 50,000. Then we have got Mahila Kisan Yojana, particularly for those women which are engaged with the, whose families are engaged in the agriculture activity. We have provided them that Mahila Kisan Yojana. Then recently launched scheme is our education loan scheme, well appreciated and well taken up in the market, particularly by the students who are the emerging citizens of the country. Under this scheme, we are funding up to 10 lakh if the student wants to have studies in India, and up to 20 lakh if he wants to have education abroad. Friends, let me inform you about the rate of interest. And I won't hesitate to tell this, that the funding under NSFDC schemes is perhaps the cheapest in the country. Under term loan, the rate of interest varies from 6 to 10%. Under Laghu Vyavasaya Yojana, it is up to 6%. Mahila Kisan Yojana, it is 5%. And Shilpi Samriddhi Yojana for the artisans, it is 5%. And microcredit finance, it is 5%. And Mahila Samriddhi Yojana, it is 4%. For education loan, it is 4% for boys and 3.5% for the girls students. As Mr. Sood has just informed you that not all our schemes, particularly education loan schemes, there is no interest charged during the currency of the education. The rate of interest is not charged, and the entire interest is borne by the Ministry of HRD, Government of India. Under non-credit based schemes, we have got skill development training programs under which youth, both boys and girls, they are provided skill training through the country. All the course fees along with stipend at the rate of 1,000 rupees per month is given to the trainees for undergoing training. Our training is basically through government, semi-government or autonomous bodies, and recently we have also added autonomous bodies and reputed institutions for providing skill training programs. As I was referring to agriculture and allied activities, let me tell you some of these schemes which have been very important and have been taken up very on priority, rather we can say. Agricultural land purchase scheme, we are providing agricultural land. It is very popular, particularly in the southern part of the country. Borewell irrigation scheme, very well taken in Andhra, Kerala and Karnataka. Horticulture, sericulture, dairy, poultry, goat, sheep rearing, etc. One thing I want to mention here, that these land-based activities, particularly which we are implementing in Karnataka and Andhra, more than 50% is the subsidy provided by the state government, which is tied up through different sources. And the balance for purchase of land and even providing for the irrigation, up to 80% subsidies available from state government under various Government of India schemes. There is free borewell irrigation facility. Then for other agriculture, we are providing funds for tractor, power tiller. I won't hesitate to inform one of our very good irrigation scheme which has come up in West Bengal, particularly in North Bengal and Central Bengal. There, government is provided 100% repayment of those schemes. What they are doing a groups of 10 to 12 persons. They are providing them pump and irrigation facility. We are just getting sanction approval from this department, this state government, and state government is repaying those loans in a phased manner over a period of 10 years. This is very good scheme where beneficiary has to pay nothing, simply he is to work hard and take the benefit of the scheme. Then under small industries, we have got bricks making, bamboo making, then garments making, footwear, candle making, gold, silver, ornaments making, etc. Under service and allied, we have got general kirana stores, beautician, tent house, guest houses, passenger commercial vehicles, photo, videography, dhaba, mini hotels, GTP centers. Particularly for those areas which are of tourist attraction, particularly this Himachal and Sikkim, where we have provided highway dhabas and which are doing very good business and the beneficiaries are well settled now. Then, as I was telling, under our non-credit schemes, we have got We have got tie-up with government institutions like Apparel Training and Design Center. We have got Garment Construction Techniques course for 3 months. Then we got Production Supervisory and Quality Controller course unit. This fees is around 14,000. Then we have got Machine Mechanic course. Fees is around 8,400. Duration 2 months. Then Machine Operator course, where duration is 1 to 2 months, and the entire. Let me clarify that entire scheme, entire fees for this training is borne by us. Then we have got ECIL, ECIT, particularly for computer schemes, Diploma in Hardware and Networking. It is 13,000 fees, course fees we are paying. Then duration is 6 months. Then we have got certificate course in mobile repairing, and we have got Advanced Diploma in Software Technology. All these courses we are paying this fees is paid by the government of NSFDC, and plus 1,000 rupees per month stipend we are giving. Then we have got tie-up with NSIC, where we provide training for air conditioner, computer accounting, then domestic electric appliances. Then about 4 or 5 years back, we have tied up with SIPCIT, Central Institute of Plastic Engineering and Technology, through which we are giving training through plastics extrusion machine operator, then plastic injection machine operator, then CNC milling machine operator, and CNC lathe machine operator. These were some of the indicated training programs which we are implementing in NSFDC. Let me, since I've already informed that we are MOU signing company. During the year 2007-8, we have got equity from Government of India 43 crores, and total funds disbursed was around 143 crores. Just I have already mentioned that we have got 3 sources of funding: Government of India equity, then our own internal generation and recovery. 100 crores we paid from our own sources. Then 2008-2009 we were given 45 crores by Government of India. Then we further funded 145 crores. Then 2009-10 we got again 45 crores. We funded 151 crores. Then during 2010-11 we got 75 crores from Government of India. Then we have given 180 crores. Then 2011 and 12 we were given 85 crores for Government of India, and we have given away 183 crores. During the current year, we have got a target of 198 crores, which we are most likely to achieve this. These are the recently initiatives taken just based on the feedback we have received from the SEAs during our various awareness campaigns, and we have got various conferences that we have delegated the power up to 2 lakh to our SEAs to sanction and disburse at their own. Then under Mahila Kisan Yojana and Shilpi Smriti Yojana and Laghu Vyavasay Yojana, which we have recently launched with the unit cost of rupees 5 lakh. Besides this, during the 11th plan, we have taken some more initiatives. Then that we have given the powers to SEAs to sanction up to 5 lakh of the education loan scheme. We just give them blanket permission up to 2 crores per scheme, and they can do at their own. Then recently we have got this increase the micro cost finance and Mahila Samriddhi Yojana from 30,000 to 50,000. Then one thing more which we have relaxed now, that once a person is already funded against any scheme, under any scheme, he can be again funded under the, after the payment, regular payment of that earlier loan, he can be again funded. Then recently we had tied up with the signed MOU with the Future Group for setting up 50 retail outlets It was the initiative taken by the Confederation of Indian Industries. We are in the advanced stage of implementation. Already issued the LOIs to around 11 beneficiaries, and within a few days we are likely to launch this program. This is such a program where Future Group has not charged any royalty from us. We are paying the entire cost of this hiring of the shop, cost that then the renovation of the shop, and also the material which is being supplied by the Future Group. One thing unique which I want to mention here, that Future Group has come forward since all these beneficiaries, they are first generation beneficiaries. They have also agreed that once the items are not sold by the beneficiaries in particular in certain time, they will be taken back and it will be replaced by the demand in that area. These we are going to set up these 50 retail outlet centers of Future Group, particularly in Maharashtra. They will be known as KB fair price shops. This will be allotted to the beneficiaries. Already this 11 beneficiaries have already been identified, and we are in the process of finalizing the other beneficiaries, particularly in Haryana and Gujarat. One thing I must appreciate, particularly the Future Group and CIA, they had to come all the way just to provide us hand-holding for our beneficiaries. They have been guiding us, guiding our beneficiaries. We have got joint team of NSFDOC officer and state SE officer, and officer from Future Group. They have been identifying viable and technically feasible shop where the beneficiary can set up his business, and they are interviewing him, and so that he emerges as victorious and he emerges as successful in the days to come. Then we have recently signed MOU with ITDC Ashoka Institute of Super Hospitality for providing training in the hospital sector. Then we have got this signed MOU with Maruti, where we are going to provide training to 3,000 drivers, training through authorized training centers of Maruti. Then some good work is always awarded. NSFDC has given under Section 25 company MOU Excellence Award 2007-8. Then we have got certification of Bureau of Indian Standards in 2007, MOU Excellence Award 2008, then MOU Excellence Award in 2009-10. Then we have got MOU Excellent rating by DPE, Government of India, 10-11. Then we have got recently we got Scope Meritorious Award for Best Managed Company under Sections 25 of the category 2001, 10-11. We have got recently external evaluation done through our agencies, particularly in Kerala, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Tripura, and HP, where the reports are that assets are created 100% and operational assets were on 75%. We are satisfied at least assets are created and assets were found to be operational. What we feel that if asset is created, then there won't be any recovery. There won't be problem for repayment of recovery by the beneficiary and also living his good life. Then we have got recently tied up with the private sector, placement linked skill training at the facilities of industries, which may be funded by NSFDC. Then we are also hopeful to provide assistance to entrepreneurs belonging to the SEs for setting of ancillary industries, particularly under the latest guidelines given by the Ministry of MSME for providing 4% reservation to the SE entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sood. Thank you, Mr. Chamber. We'll now have the question answer session. A lot of you have participated by typing in the questions. When you are typing in, please mention who you are addressing the